use Facebook to stay in touch with my family and my friends from back home. And so I really didn't want to be sold to. So I found that unfollow button. It's like my favorite button on Facebook. And I just seriously unfollowed all my friends in Texas. And I think I hurt some of their feelings, because I was like, yeah, I just unfollowed you. I don't want to see it. So I probably was not the most supportive friend, but I tell you that because you might have a friend that has unfollowed you. And she might be a diamond on your team one day. You never know. So, some months passed, and actually, Andrea and our children are one morning, and she saw that my two youngest, I have four, you can see them over here. That's about a year and a half old picture, but I have four children, and the two youngest had severe skin issues. That it was real dry, itchy patches in the creases of their arms and legs. It would bleed. We were going to dermatologists, allergists. Nothing was helping us. We were trying creams. We were doing bleach baths, and it just seemed like nothing was helping. So one day, she gave me a bottle of the probiotic and body cream and said, Julie, just try this with your family. And I remember we were at McDonald's. That's a good Plexus place to have a play date. And I stuck it in my diaper bag, and I thought, she is really trying to stuff these products down my throat. I am not interested. But I was polite, and I took them. Now, a couple of months passed, and my husband actually lost his job. And so you can imagine having four young kids. I was very passionate about being a stay-at-home mom. I have a teaching degree. I taught school before, but I really didn't want to go back to the classroom. And honestly, financially, we were not really even on our feet when he lost his job. So that was even just a bigger blow. We didn't know what we were going to do. And so he ended up finding a job here in Alabama, and that's what brought us back to Alabama. But I went to breakfast with Andrea right about a month before we were going to move, and she wasn't trying to get me on a Plexus team or anything. We got to talking at breakfast, and finally I just looked at her because I could tell by the way she was talking. I was like, how much money are you making with that Plexus thing? And she told me, and I about fell out my chair because at that time she was Emerald. So I actually went out to eat. Both of our families went out to eat, I think the day she went Emerald. And I remember being like, oh, you want a car? Oh, you're going to Hawaii. Good job. That's good for you. I really, not good friends, but I was like, that's Andrea's succeeding. And I'm sure she's the only one in the company and nobody else is making money. Because, I'm thinking pyramid scheme. Well, she told me how much money she was making. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot of money. If she can make that much, maybe I can make, say, $1,000 a month. If I can make $1,000 a month, then I wouldn't have to go back to teaching. Well, I left and I called. A couple of our pastors' wives had actually joined Plexus, and they were selling. And, that struck me, because that kind of gave me women I trusted and who had integrity and who I really kind of looked up to were doing this. So I was like, maybe this isn't as bad as I think it is. So I called some of them and I was like, hey, are you making any money with this? I needed to know people, not just Andrea was making money. And so, they kind of told me they were making real money. And so I called my husband up and I said, Jared, if these products do what they say they do, if they really work, and, so many of my friends here in Texas are making money and they're making decent money and it could keep me from having to go back to teaching, maybe I should give this a try. And so our family started using the products, and sure enough, they did exactly what Andrea told me to. Their skin issues started clearing up for the first time in their life. And so I jumped in. I jumped into the Plexus business. My husband was very reluctant, but 2 weeks before I came to Alabama. And I moved to Mobile. I moved to a brand new place. I have people I know throughout town, but, I don't do life with them, I guess, anymore. So I was, here all alone. My husband had a new job. I have 4 young kids. I'm homeschooling for the first time. So I homeschooled for 2 years. And here I am with a home-based business, and I have never done anything like this. And I say all that because people try to give me excuses, and we're going to talk about excuses. And I'm like, I look back and I'm like, you can't make those excuses because I didn't have time. I didn't know the people. I didn't have internet. I told Dawn before preparing for this, I didn't have internet for several weeks when I first joined. And my husband would come home from work and I would get and leave and go to the closest, I call it civilization, probably about 10 miles down the road there was a McAllister's that had free internet. And so I would go every night and email people who had, liked my post, or I was reaching out to them. And, I just made it work for me because I needed it to work. So, fast forward, I think it was probably about 4 weeks. I'm not sure the exact time frame, but I was standing, if you've heard my story, I was standing in the Publix, which is a grocery store here, parking lot. And I got that email that we had gotten paid, and it was my first paycheck. And I was thinking, okay, I need it to cover, the products, mainly, for my family. And I opened it up, and it was actually enough to cover our entire first month's rent here in Mobile. And I just remember looking down and, just crying because I was like, you know what, this could be something. Like, this could change everything for us. And I know how cliche that sounds, but it really, I was like, this could not change just our circumstances and keep me from having to teach, but this could change our family's future. And that's really when I dove in, and I started calling all my friends. You can look at these pictures. I went Emerald in 9 months. I don't really think the time frame is really that important though. But, within 14 months, I was diamond. But this picture down here are the three, Angie, Ellen, and Andrea. They're my upline, and all three of them went to church with me in Texas. And then these are the jewels that are up under me. So I have 3 level 1 jewels and then 2 level 2s. And all 6 of us, or I guess there's 7 of us, we all went to Troy State University together. So we were all at college together. So all the jewels that are going to Hawaii in a couple of weeks, we all went to college together. And I just think that's lots of fun. I brought a lot of friends with me. I have a lot still coming up. And, we've won cars, we've won the trips, which is all great. But honestly, it's just given us financial freedom. My husband is able to be a stay-at-home dad with us. We've homeschooled for 2 years. This year, we decided to put him in a little Christian private school, which I'll be honest, we would have never been able to afford without Alexis, so we're very thankful. And it's just given us a lot of freedom and just a way to, have a ministry and really just live life with a bunch of fun ladies and a few men. So I am going to get started. Do you want to do question and answers during, or do you like to do it after? Okay, she's waving at me, so we'll just wait till after. So y'all,
I think we're gonna pass on the questions and just let you take your time, because that way we're not taking up too much of your time.
Well, don't worry about my time. I can ramble, so y'all can be like, the end. So if y'all need to. Okay, so tonight when I was trying to figure out what I would say, because I kind of have the way, I want to back up so that's not just in your face. The way I really have worked my business. And like I said, I really didn't know what I was doing, so I've learned every step of the way. But I've had an amazing upline to really train and duplicate. And I'm definitely, I tell people I'm not a natural leader. I am a follower, and I'm okay with that. You tell me what to do, and I do it. So I was like, okay, how do I go silver? Okay, I'll do it. How do I go gold? And I never really looked at the big picture. I always was just, the next step right in front of me. But, lately a lot of people have asked me, Julia, what makes y'all succeed? What makes your team, get on the leaders board and win the Bloomie's shopping spree? Oh, we're not Bloomie's this year. Nordstrom shopping sprees. How do we do that? And I really, I've put a lot of thought on it, and I really think there's 3 things that really have helped us succeed. Someone brought this to my attention, but I think it was true, is we have a sense of urgency. For me, it was go back to teaching, or don't put food on your table, or succeed. Like, that was my job. So I knew I had to succeed. I knew I had to make X amount of money. So I had a sense of urgency when I started. Now, obviously, not everyone on my team has that same sense of urgency, but I'll tell you, urgency brings an excitement, and excitement is contagious. And we're going to talk about that. But I really think we just breathe this, okay, let's go silver our first month. Okay, let's, and we just keep pushing each other along. I also think I'm the teacher in me. I like action steps. So you'll find throughout this whole training that I'm very visual. I have a graphic for everything, and I have an action step for everything. I don't want someone to tell me, Leaders Retreat is going to be hard this year. Leaders Retreat was hard to get this year. I want someone to say, here's 6 steps to get to Leaders Retreat. And that's kind of how I lead my team. Everybody knows they have an action step, and I really lead that way. And also, I think it's just a love for people and the products. And that's something that is hard to be taught. I think either you love people and you fall in love with the products, or you don't. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So that's kind of where this training came about. So, the first thing is excite. So we have the 3 E's. We call them the 3 E's. And really, I just use excite because it started with an E. I would really say belief. You have to build belief. And tonight we're going to talk about building belief in yourself, in your team, and in your customers, because those are the 3 main parts of your team of success. You've got to have yourself, your team, and your customers. So building excitement in your team, or building belief. How do you do that? So first off, I start everyone. When you join my team, I have a new ambassador boot camp. We used to have it. I have it every week, but different people lead it. I lead it once a month now, just due to time restraints. Sometimes I lead it more, depending on how many new ambassadors we have. But I want people to know that they joined the best team in Plexus. Now, I know we're like different teams, but y'all are the best team for Plexus, because you know what? You're exactly where the Lord has you. So that's the best team for you. And so really, I just put this up here because this is my upline, because I think that's a great way. Your team needs to know who their leaders are. They need to know what duplication is and how, these ladies succeeded and you can too. And we're going to teach it to you. And you have to build that belief that, you are on the right team. We're excited to have you. And this is how we're going to do it. And that's kind of what I do with my new ambassador boot camp. And you can look, I'm not a YouTube girl. You can see I don't even have makeup on tonight. I don't have professional lighting, but I do have my new ambassador boot camp on my YouTube channel. So, you have to build that belief that, we are a successful team and we're going to succeed together. You also have to, for your customers, they need to know you're their team. You need to let them know. And, I actually have a graphic of what to do when you sign up a new customer. And, the first thing is send them an email. You send them an email. I wish I had shared it. I didn't even think to put it on the slideshow. Send them an email introducing yourself, give them the directions and stuff. But also, we do 3-way calls. We do 3-way messages. Every new ambassador that joins my team, if, say I sign somebody up, I put them in a 3-way message with them, me, Angie, and Ellen, and I say, hey, Dawn, these are my uplines. I just want you to, I wanted to introduce you to them. Dawn's really excited about getting in with the business. Or if she's just a wholesale customer, I say, Dawn's really excited about trying the products for the first time. That way, that we know the lingo, so I know not to send Dawn like how to go silver your first month. I send her triplex. Here's a great video on triplex. So we're all supporting each other. And really all that is that's building belief in your customer, in your ambassadors, even your wholesale ambassadors in your team, that they have a support system. And I can tell you, my legs that do those 3-way messages and even the 3-way calls, which I also have a graphic on that, those are my legs that are really growing the fastest, because you're getting people engaged at the beginning. Same thing with the customers. Like I said, you have to let them know that you're there and that you're available. You have to be available. I never go to bed with a customer asking me questions. Now, my messages now that I'm 2 years in and I've been diving for a while, there's no human way possible for me to answer every message before I go to bed. But I'll tell you, if they are a customer, they get priority and they get answered. Because I tell people my job is 2 things. I'm customer service and I'm a cheerleader. And that's what makes it fun. And so you have to be available. Which things are changing right now. I used to try to never let my customers call customer service. Even now you can 3-way them in. I teach my team that do not tell your customers to call customer service. That's what my job is. And again, I know rules are always changing with, they have to talk to them, but it's even now, I believe today I was told we could 3-way them in. Products. Okay. You have to have a belief in the products. Now, when I joined, I'll be honest, other than that probiotic and body cream, I had never even tasted the Slim. So how in the world am I going to sell something I've never even tasted? You know what? I shared my friend's success. I shared my friend's belief. And that's okay to borrow belief and excitement at the beginning. I never want people to lie, and I've seen this, y'all. Do not get, and I don't know who I'm talking to. Y'all might be brand new. You might have been here for 2 years. But I've seen people like, oh, got my products in. I have so much energy. I've lost 5 pounds, all this stuff. And you're like, you just said you got them in yesterday. Like, that's going to totally ruin. And so be genuine. Say, I'm so excited about getting my products. I'm so excited about starting this journey. But you build that belief in the products. For you to do that, you have to be a product. So you have to try all the products. For me, I couldn't afford them all at the beginning. So every month, every paycheck, I added one product a month until I had all the products. I've tried everything but Nerve. And honestly, that's just because I don't need Nerve. But I put my mother on Nerve because she has an autoimmune disease. And anyway, and it's helped her. So I say get at least a family member on all the products. Even if you have to say, and I said this, hey, Mom, just try this for me and tell me how you like it. That way you have a personal testimony of a family member on that product. And again, you might have to work your way up to that. Read testimonies, and y'all know this. Something new I'm doing with my team starting in September, we're going to do a build belief call with compliance. Sometimes I think it's kind of getting, I wouldn't say harder to build belief, but we're not hearing the wow stories anymore. But you know what? We can tell them to each other. And so every month I'm going to have a build belief call, and I'm going to get 5 to 6 people on my team to give their uncompliant testimony. And we're not recording it. We're not giving that number to anyone that's not an ambassador. And don't tell me if that's not compliant, because I don't know if it is or not. But I don't think that, I decided it's fine because it's secret. But I'm telling y'all, maybe I should not. But that's what we're doing. You've got to build that belief in your team, guys. You've got to build that belief in yourself. Also, your customers. How are you going to build belief with them? Well, you've got to tell them how to use the products. I use this one because I don't sell a lot of Slim Block Accelerator combos, but I have a graphic for every possible way you could use a product. Because when they become an ambassador, I email them how to use the products. I message them. I'll text them. I'll send. Y'all know you can tell them 10 different ways and they still won't use the products right. So I'm like, save this on your phone, read through this, watch this video. Some people are auditory learners. Some people are visual learners. I just try to cover all the bases. But I had this ready for my team. So none of my team, if you're brand new and you're like, oh, I have this customer that does Slim Block Accelerator, I don't even know what to say. I have it on an album on my phone and I shoot it to them. I'm like, oh, here you go. You have to make it easy
just do a little every night, I'd say.
To build their belief in the products.
We've got
somebody's unmuted. I can't do anything about it though.
Trying to get this
There's a
thing
belief in the
updated.
company, and this
is
again
my cool
is something
computer.
that you
It's
have
all
to
lit
have
up,
belief.
and I picked different colors for this.
Okay, here we go. Sorry. Okay, so you have to have belief in the company. And, this to me is really easy because, again, I'm driving a free Lexus. I'm going to Hawaii. This company is wonderful. But how do you build belief when you just first started? How do you build belief in your team who maybe is not covering their products yet? And guys, I think that's one of the harder things to do, but you have to let them know of the possibilities. You have to let them know, y'all, through everything that's happened in the whole year, and, I'm not going to pretend like we haven't had back office issues and shipping issues and stuff, but y'all, I have seen over and over our company do what is right, make it right for people. Not one time have I gone to bed disappointed in my company. And y'all, I tell my team these stories. And when they come with negative to me, I let them vent, and then I go, and I let them know I understand, but then I'm like, but you know what? They're going to fix it. And they always, always do. So you just have to continually, again, tell those stories. Same thing. That's one of the reasons, customer service, I call customer service for them because, the one bad phone call might kill their belief in the company. And, I want to make sure I have as much control over that as I can. And then, of course, you have to have belief in yourself. And, this I love this. I actually made it right before this because I say it all the time. Small victories build big belief. I told you that, and I'm sure somebody else said that, and I just kind of took it from them because I loved it. I have gone through this whole company is I never looked at going diamond. I never really even thought about going emerald. It was small things. It was, okay, let me cover my products. Oh my goodness, I covered my rent. Well, you know what? Maybe next month I can cover rent and groceries. Oh my goodness, I did that. And I really think small victories build big belief. So you've got to know what are you're aiming for. That's why I'm huge on goals. Goal setting, small goal setting. Okay, I have built You Go Silver every month. Every month you recruit 3 people. If that's too hard for you, if you're really depending on your network, okay, I'm going to recruit 1 person a month. And then celebrate. Let yourself eat a bowl of ice cream, whatever you like. Let yourself go get your nails done when you go silver. I had small little things that I'd celebrate. Same thing with your team, y'all. You have to build that belief in themselves. So we're going to talk about accolades and building in a minute, but you have to celebrate your team members' small victories because that's going to keep them going, even if it's a new customer or hitting $500 in PV, things like that. You have to make it really big and make them feel special because excitement is contagious, and excitement brings activity. When people are excited, they get moving. When people are excited, they start sharing things with others, and that's how your team builds. So I really truly believe building belief and having excitement in your team is really one of the keys to success. Okay, so you're excited, woohoo! You believe in the company, you believe in yourself, but you have to equip yourself. Okay, you have to have, I love business strategy. Okay, but we're going to start with product training. Product training is my weakness. I'll be honest. Do not ask me what 5 strains of whatever is in probiotic. I don't know it by heart. Now I can find it. In fact, I have my little cards. Who loves these cards? I love them. I'm actually doing products in front of Alec tomorrow night. So I am studying up hard tonight. But you know what? That's what makes a team wonderful. I have doctors. I have a physical therapist that's an emerald on my team. I have Rachel Neagle, and if you don't know her, she's a genius. A phone call away. So when I have a question about a product, I can call them. And y'all, I am continually learning. I don't ever want to use an excuse. I'm not good at that, so I don't have to learn about it. That's not a good enough excuse. But it doesn't come natural for me. I have no medical background. Never even heard of a probiotic till Plexus. So it's just taken me longer to learn. But if you have to have some product knowledge. And so how do I do it? I tell my people to pick 1 product a day for 16 days. When you join my team, I say pick 1 product a day. My team page, I've been very strategic. And as leaders, I think we have to be intentional with our team pages. And I can share this with you if you need a visual. But I've done it like 3 or 4 times. I just did it with the Olympics. And I picked 1 product today, like Slim. And I was like, everybody find whatever you can about Slim. Whether it was something about an ingredient, a training, whatever. And I have tons and tons of comments about Slim. And then I do it with each product for 16 days. So now when somebody joins and they're like, okay, I need to learn about the products, I say, take it slow, use 1 product a day. Then you can go use a little magnifying glass and you can type in Slim, and then those old posts and all that information comes up. Also, I love Jennifer Pickett. I know we're different teams, so we probably use different people. Jennifer Pickett, I used her product videos for everyone. I use it for customers, ambassadors, and myself. Arme Darling, I use hers a good bit. There's just key. I have a whole list. I have a Word document that I send to my new people, which is product training. And you just have to kind of keep equipping yourself, learning new things, and making sure you know. Again, you don't have to be a genius on it. Trust me, I'm not. But you do have to pretty much know what they are and what they do. Business strategy. This is my strong suit. Neagle calls me for business strategy. This is what I love, and I would have never thought it. But you have to have a strategy. You have to have, how am I going to do this? So the way I was taught, again, remember, I'm just kind of a follower. They said 5-3-1. Do y'all do 5-3-1 on y'all's team? Yes, no? Okay, she's saying yes. So all 5-3-1 is Reach out to 5 new people a day, follow up with 3, and train 1. I teach that. It works. I am a huge believer. I did it from the beginning. I did it all the way to Diamond. I've taught my people who say they're stuck and they just can't get over it. I say, are you doing 531? And they'll say, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, send me your messages. And either they can't because they're not really doing it, or, I always find something. Like they're not really doing 531, because I'll tell you, the ones that they might go through a small season that they're not growing, but eventually they get somebody. It's the numbers game. You'll see this here. Again, I have a whole Zoom call on just these 7 steps. This is my strategy. This is what, it has not really changed. You post every day. I'm a huge believer. Make your hundreds list. 531. Have your written goals. Commit to personal development, 20 minutes a day. And train your ambassadors. And that's kind of our steps. That's our business strategy. Another, I think strength is, our new ambassador. And, I told you about, we had that boot camp, but I also have this. Every time I level 1 as an ambassador, even if they're cold, I send them this, y'all. I get that email, I send them this. I'm like, hey, make sure you do this. Hey, make sure you do this, because it's kind of like repetition. You have to. And I'm pretty sure some people. Now, I'll tell you, I have some people that, we might do it differently, but we all do these 7 steps. And I'll tell you, the legs that don't often struggle. But our steps for adding a new ambassador, and again, this is just my business strategy. Dawn might have something fabulous working for y'all, is you send them an email with starter. We just revamped our Dropbox files. I think they're overloading. I think there's so much. My personality, I would never read all that. However, I know there's some people that want all that information. They're going to read every detail. So again, you have to think about how people learn and the different types of personalities when you're sending things out. You add them in welcome to team pages. My rule of thumb, I learned the hard way. A best friend from college joined. I was so excited, jumping up and down, never even thought she'd ever join. She could kill this business. I put her on probably 16 pages all the way from me to Celeste. She quit the next day. She was totally overwhelmed, y'all. And that's when I took a step back and I was like, what do you mean this is overwhelming? This is overwhelming for me. But again, so I have a rule of thumb. You add them to no more than 3, right before they get silver or gold, no matter how much of a rock star you think they are. That's just mine. I think everybody should be on a Jules team page. So if they're far down and I'm their first Jewel, but I'm their level 6, whatever, to get them on mine. I've had to let go. It's okay if they're not on your team page. I mean, I'm okay with that as long as they're on somebody's good team page. But 3 team pages at the most. Introduce them, like I mentioned before, we introduce in 3-way messages. We schedule a 3-way call. I have a little graphic. I have 5 points that we go. I have so many leaders doing 3-way calls, y'all. That makes such a huge difference. We help with the first Facebook post. A little key tip, something my team has done that has really worked well, 2 things with the first Facebook post. I have a post on my team page. It's called Post It and They Will Come. And I did a contest. You throw a free t-shirt out there and everybody will do something. And I said, everybody go screenshot or copy and paste your very first Plexus post and put it in the comments. Well, now we have probably like 300 comments, y'all. So when I sign someone up and they're like, Julia, I don't know what to do for my first Facebook post, I'm like, oh, well, I'll tag you in a thread. And I tag them and they can look through all those comments of those first Facebook posts and they can kind of, pick and choose what they like and create their own. So that's just a little tip for your Facebook page. Something else I got it from Celeste. She has a graphic that says Celeste first 20 posts. Well, I did like a first 20 posts. I encourage all my leaders to do that. Again, you kind of have to backtrack your Facebook some. And if you're like us, they're probably not compliant anymore. And I have to remind people, like, some of these aren't compliant anymore. But I just had an example of my first 20 Plexus posts. And I have it in my files on my team page. But I also send that to my new ambassadors when they're ready to do their first Facebook post. Again, I get overwhelmed if it all comes at once. Send them videos and articles, get them started, and then have them on a boot camp the first week. And that has been key for our team, is that boot camp, just because, again, it builds that excitement. And that's my goal with boot camp. It's not to teach them the compensation plan. It's not for them to know, I don't know what strains are in probiotic. It is to build excitement, to let them know they can do this, that they can make real money, and they can get their products paid for, to love them where they're at. So it's for new ambassadors, it's for ambassadors who want to make this a business, and it's for ambassadors who just want to cover their products. So that's my business strategy. Normally I take questions, but we'll keep on going, and y'all can ask questions afterwards. Also, so we have self-development. So you have to equip yourself. This is probably, again, I probably don't have many strengths other than business strategy, because we laugh at self-development. I was talking to Jessica Heffley the other day, and she is a self-development guru. I would be lying to say I've read a ton of books. I do love 4-Year Career because it's short. And honestly, I love Sarah Marble because I feel like she's like my clip notes. Like, she reads it and she tells me what it's about. Again, my personality. But, I think self-development is huge, because you're going to find people who really do need to build that self-belief. They don't know about network marketing. That's why I think I liked 4-Year Career. It kind of introduced me to what network marketing is. I am a video. I love to watch videos, so I'll watch Sonia Dunley. I'll watch, like I said, normally I watch Sarah. I kind of have my favorites. But you got to do something in 20 minutes a day, something to build your leadership skills. I do love, and I don't even consider this self-development, I love John Maxwell 21 Laws of Leadership. I'm starting my second group there, and that was huge. Every person that I had 6 girls, and they're all either Jules or Senior Ruby that went through that. And I don't think they were even gold when we started. So I am I guess I just don't give myself credit. I'm just not a book guru that sits around and reads books all day. But, I definitely think that you need to, those smaller groups really are effective. If you can grab, even if it's just you have 2 runners on your team, and grab them and say, hey, let's read this book together, and let's read it together. I think that's key. And several of us say, I love John Maxwell. I love the 21 Laws of Leadership, but I don't even know if that's why it made my group successful. I really think it was just, we built a culture. We just bonded. We connected. We built an intimacy, and we encouraged each other, and we just kept pushing each other on until we were all ranking up. It kind of kept us going. So when a customer dropped off, or an ambassador white-lined or something, we had each other to push each other. So that's, to me, my little tidbit on self-development. Normally I would say, Dawn, do you have anything to add to there? Because that's not my training. Are you a self-development guru?
I wouldn't say I'm a guru. I have read more since I started Plexus than I have my whole entire life. But I really loved the John Maxwell as well. I really liked the book we got for convention, Real Leadership, with that, whatever, I forgot his name. I really like that one too. So, yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'll say I love to read. I just like to read like Twilight. I like to read things that are not upset. And in the Bible, I do, things like that. But anyway, self-development is huge. And like I said, I think you need to give your team different areas, because not everyone's going to sit in the book. So it might be that you need to give them videos and things like that, or get them in a group. Okay, so encouragement. Like I said earlier, I feel like my job, and I tell people, I'm customer service. I make sure people love their products. They're taking them right. They're doing it right. They have no issues. But I'm also a cheerleader. And I'm sure most of y'all can kind of, if you've been a leader or you've been on your team for a while, you would agree that a lot of our job is cheering on our team and cheering on our customers. You cannot motivate anyone. I tell people, and I love, and you might have heard this before, because I did not make this up, but my favorite saying that I've ever heard, and I heard it from Debbie from corporate. I don't even know Debbie's last name. But you'll have 10 people. You have 10 people on your team. 2 people are going to go all the way to the top. They're going to be diamond no matter how bad of a leader you are. If you just never even called them, they're going to go. Like, I have Rita Anderson, who's on my team, and I'm like, you would have been diamond without me. Like, it doesn't matter. You're going to have 2 people that you could be John Maxwell himself leading his team, and they're not going to do anything. You're not going to motivate them. You're not going, the whole, you take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Like, those 2 people are going to do nothing. That leaves you with 6 people. Those 6 people you can influence. Those 6 people is what's going to get you to Jewel. Those 6 people are what's going to make you succeed in this business. So when I say excite, equip, and encourage, those are the 6 people that you have to do that with. And I'll tell you, encouragement is so key to influencing people, because we always hear that saying, people will work for praises more than they will raises. And it's so true. So, I want you to think about your team. Think about where people, and you don't want to prejudge, because I've had some people who I thought were going to go to the top and they don't do anything. And I have some people who I really was like, oh, they're joining my team. And then they end up, being successful. But I think it's okay to look at your team and say, where do they fall in with that team? Do I need to work a little harder to try to influence them? And how can I influence them? And, we've talked a lot lately, I feel like, with Plexus, at least through my threads, about, people's different colors and their love languages and stuff. Again, that's not me. I'm like, oh my goodness, don't make me take another test. I don't know what I am. I don't fit in the box. But, however, I will say, because I had encouragement to learn, what my color is and what my team color, it's really helping me lead. So you have to inspire your team. A lot of people work for giveaways. I'm not a huge giveaway. Really, honestly, at the beginning, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to give $100 giveaways. I couldn't afford that stuff. I didn't even give gifts. People say, what do you give your downline when they go gold? And I'm like, gift giving is not my love language. And it's not because I don't love you. I'm just like, well, I couldn't afford gifts. So I give people, when they hit Emerald, they get a gift. And now it's just kind of started. But anyway, that's just one thing. You've got to learn what their gift is. For me, words of affirmation is huge. I like words of affirmation. So you kind of just had to figure out how to encourage your team. I made this little thing for my team because I wanted to let them know, ways that sometimes I think we overlook some of the simple things. Just on, we always, when somebody makes their first post, we put on our team page, Dawn made her first post. Everybody go show her some love. And we all go comment and like it and tell our story up underneath it. I assume everybody does that. We say, oh, so-and-so got their first customer, or, we did the $500 PV, the 1,000 PV, the $2,500 PV. One thing I started is when I get an email, and even if it's a level, 3, 4, I think you get them down to 4, sometimes I don't even recognize the names, but I get like, Dawn just signed somebody up. I just really quick message Dawn. I love that voice message button. I say, Dawn, I just got an email from you. That's awesome. You got a new ambassador. That's it. Like, I'm not starting this long conversation, but just I have gotten so much feedback by that simple message, y'all. Anytime someone on my team hits leaders board, they're getting a phone call. I'm going to go to the back office and find their phone number and call them and say, oh my goodness, do you know how huge deal that is? Anytime you can just call someone out on team pages. Today, I have a girl. She is literally leading a coaching group for people who are just all over my team, and she's my level 2. And I'm like, do you know all these people aren't under you, and they're not going to benefit? But she's just one Plexus, and that's why I say one Plexus shout outs. Like I say, way to go, Brooke. she has stepped up. She's helping so many people, because sometimes people help people in the back scenes, and it's not seen up front. And then of course rank up recognition. I was funny about this. When I joined, I threatened my upline. I was like, you better not put anything about me going gold, silver, blue, gold, whatever color on Facebook. That's so embarrassing. I don't want any. Until I went Emerald, I would not allow them to put it on my face. So I'm funny about I ask people, because I have found that just because it's the way I get encouragement doesn't mean it's the way the next person does. So I had people getting their feelings hurt because I wasn't telling them on their Facebook we're all congratulations. I was telling them on my team page, but I wouldn't put it in public. And I would get like, finally somebody was like, it really hurts my feelings that you never acknowledge me in public. And I'm like, but I don't like to get acknowledged in public. I don't want people to know. So you just, the point of that is, for me, I really try to find what people want and what makes them feel special. I had this one dude, he's a guy, and like every month, he started like 3 months ago, and he's like, where am I on your PV? Where am I on your PV? Like, he wants to have the highest PV. I don't think he has an ambassador, but he always has, thousands of PV. So I learned, what? That's how he's encouraged. So I make a huge deal that Brett has the highest PV on my team page, because I know that's what's going to keep him going. So switching over to customers, how are you going to motivate your customers? I do it through testimonies. I do it by just reaching out to them, I mean, I'm pretty consistent. I think we have to be. I think that's where a lot of people drop the ball, is they don't take care of their customers. So just sending them, encouragement notes. At Christmas, I sent them all a bottle of X Factor and said, I'm extra thankful for you. I realize not everyone can afford that, but even just a little something, maybe a trial pack of something, letting your customers know that you're thankful for them, that you're there for them, asking them questions. I think I kind of skipped that on really how, but, asking specific questions, not just, hey, how are you doing? But, hey, are you sleeping better? Hey, maybe you haven't lost 25 pounds, but do you have more energy with the kids this afternoon? Asking specific questions is going to equip them and encourage them all in the same way. So I had 3 E's. The name of this was called 3 E's. And my husband looked at me because he was on the couch when I was making this. And he said, Julia, you're forgetting an E. And I was like, what do you mean? My husband, remember, he came home 10 months in. So he's been home with me for over a year with Plexus. And he was like, every day. And I was like, you're right. Consistency is key. Probably one of my top favorite little sayings is, you can work this part-time, but you can't work it sometimes. Just like I told you, I don't go to bed with a customer question. Probably till I hit Emerald, I didn't go to bed with an ambassador's question. When they needed me, and I'm not saying I love my family. I put my family first. But my family knew we were going to have sacrifices. I am a TV-aholic. I know Ellen Ford, who's my upline, will say, you can't watch TV and go, Joel, yeah, you can. I watch a lot of TV because we like it. That's my husband and I don't get date nights because we don't have family to babysit, so we put them to bed and we would watch Netflix. But you know what? We decided that we had to sacrifice, and sometimes I didn't want to. Sometimes I just wanted to watch my TV show. I had to say, you know what? Tonight I've got to work Plexus. Tonight I have a Zoom call. Tonight, I've got to drive up there and go to the internet because I don't have internet. You have to work every day. I have this little graphic again. Don't tell me to do something without action steps. What do you have to do every day? You have to post every day. Train your team. Even if that's just on your team page, you throw I always use Jennifer Pickett. Jennifer Pickett's, slim video or, a Zoom call. Contact, I can't even see this, so I don't even know. Contact new people, 531. That goes for 531. Follow up. Follow up with those people that, you've been talking to. And then train your team. Train yourself, train your team. I'll go off there, but you know what I mean. So really that's just self-development. It's everything I've already talked to y'all tonight, but that's
Hey guys, we're losing her, but hopefully she'll get back on. Oh.
excuses. I have some excuses of why, I'm not really working my second leg. And, we have to write that down and think, okay, how can I make it work? If it's time, wake up earlier in the morning, go to bed later at night. If it's, you don't have a big network, I got that from my mother the other day. She's like, I just don't know enough people. I'm like, okay, well, let's broaden your network. Let's go through your friends list. Let's go through somebody else's friends list and see who you know. Let's join a gym. Let's join a new, class at the Y. Whatever it is, start wearing your Plexus shirts to more places so people will ask you about it. There's so many different ways and so many different excuses. So, but my thing with my team is when they send me an excuse, I listen to it and I say, okay, well, let's figure out a way to make that excuse your bigger why, because normally your excuse can turn into a why with Plexus. Like, I don't have the time. Well, you need more time. I don't have the money. Well, guess what? You need Plexus because it can give you more money. So that's about it. I feel like I've rambled. I normally do this with a lot of feedback. So I hope that I didn't go too fast for all y'all. But I'm definitely open for questions, or if y'all need me to elaborate on any point.
Hey guys, if you have a question, go ahead and you can unmute yourself and ask her a question if anybody has a question.
I do. Thank you so much, Julie. Oh my gosh, I could not take notes quick enough. Not because you were talking so much, but because you gave us so much information. But my first question was, with your business strategy, you talked about doing your boot camp. Do you have a set thing that you do, or do you just kind of wing it with everybody? Is it all different?
Oh, no. I have a set thing, and I'll tell you, it has been the same. I got it from Rosalind Payne. I got hers because I'm all about duplication, don't reinvent the wheel. And I got hers and I tweaked it and I made it my own. I'll send y'all, I don't mind sending everybody the PowerPoint, and then you tweak it, make it own. The thing is, you've got to make it your own. And you can't just try to copy. I'm all about duplication, but you've got to make it your own or you won't own it. And then you're not going to get excited about it. And then you're going to do it and it's just like a boring Zoom call. Like I said, I have a PowerPoint for everything. But yes, so I have the same thing, and I'll tell you, January came around, so I had been in Plexus for about a year, and I was like, you know what, I need to revamp that boot camp. And like my whole entire upline was like, why would you, no, it works. And so I just kind of have kept, I of course had to tweak some compliance stuff, but other than that, and I've tweaked the way I've done compensation. I don't go deep into compensation anymore, where I used to try. But yeah, I have it. And again, you can find it on my YouTube channel. It's called New Ambassador Training Boot Camp or something. You can watch it. And I train my downlines to start their own, especially by the time they're gold. Because you wouldn't want to send your people my boot camp because they don't know me. That doesn't matter, and I believe that on my team too. Good leaders create leaders, not followers. So, my goal is for my level 3s not to even know who I am because my 1s and 2s are leading them so well. So, any other questions?
Anybody? Maybe you just covered it that well.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I probably gave you so much information because I get kind of excited. But, and I normally do this with my team, and they know all the nitty gritty. So this is really just to kind of pump them up and let them know that, that they can do it. I mean, if I can do this, anybody can do it.
Yeah. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, what would be probably your biggest, like, praying over your team, like helping them?
I couldn't hear you.
Like, are you about like praying over your team, praying for your leaders when they're trying to rank and goal set?
You might have to type in your question because it's all breaking up.
Okay.
Did y'all hear? I'm not sure. She's frozen. Does anybody else have any questions? Come on, y'all. Just come up with something. No. Where are y'all? Where do y'all live? I can't hear you.
Ravenna, Nebraska.
Nebraska. Are all y'all in Nebraska?
You're in Colorado.
Well, then I probably really did talk too fast, and then y'all couldn't understand what I said. Sorry.
You didn't. Not at all. No.
Oh. So not April, she's Dawn. Are you praying? Are you about praying? Yes, definitely. Prayer has a huge, and I if you know me, a huge part in our team. I pick on my team that they have to work hard. They can't just pray. But obviously, Plexus has been a absolutely answer to our prayer life. And that's part of my testimony I didn't put in there. But that we were specifically praying for something and the Lord gave this to us. And I truly think this is our ministry, and that the Lord puts people on my team for a purpose. And that's really what drives us, that we can be this passionate about this. If it wasn't amazing products and a company with integrity, I could never put my name behind it. So definitely, my biggest prayer warriors in life are on my team. Are mostly people I've met through Plexus.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Somebody missed it, and they just want the wisdom I have. I don't know about. I don't know if I could concise it, make it condensed.
We recorded it. Does anybody else have questions for Julia? I don't want to keep her forever. Anybody? No? Okay, girl. Well, I just want to thank you for tonight. I appreciate it so, so much. I can't tell you enough.
Well, thank you.
And
Thank y'all for letting me come.
I'll be in touch with you on Facebook. Thanks everybody for getting on. I appreciate it. Bye.